So if I look a little bit off or anything, I'm kind of sick. I think if you watched my video from yesterday, you most likely might know that, but if on the off chance you don't, well yeah, I'm kind of sick, which is the reason why a lot of videos have been delayed. But anyways, moving forward and getting on topic, this episode of Cells at Work, oh my god, like, that dramatic tone shift from the beginning portion of the episode to the second half was unreal. Like, I remember reading the title last week, like, hemorrhagic shock. I remember seeing it, and I was like, that's a very, like, big title. That's a really worrisome title. Like, that's something major has happened to someone, the host body, to have a title like that. And, honestly, I forgot about that title while I was watching the beginning portion of this episode, because it was such a cheerful episode, so happy, just having, Red Blood Cell teaching her Kohai. I'm like, this is cute. This is really nice to see. I mean, she was having her own struggles, trying to teach, her fellow disciple, but, obviously she wasn't being the best at it. But then, the second half came around, and you're like, oh. And I really like the message of what happened there. And let me kind of give context. See, every single day we get up in the morning, we go about our day. A day can be relatively fine. Let's say you're having a great day. Your day is 100% perfect. It's like everything's going right. The stars have aligned. You're getting up. You're getting the right food you want. You're having everybody just, greet you properly, whatever. You're having everything that makes you happy. Just things are going right for you. It's a normal, perfect day or whatever. But then all of a sudden, one thing happens. One accident, one slip up, and everything just goes down the drain. And that's pretty much what happened in this episode. It was kind of like a depiction of how real life is. Like, you never expect when things will really go wrong. It's kind of like how the body, is having a really happy day. Red Blood Cell was teaching her Kohai, or the Kohai was kind of teaching her, but then everything went to hell, and then, everything went bad. The day got really bad, one of the worst days in history. And that's usually what happens in real life. A good day could turn into a bad day like that. And I really like the comparison of how something like that can actually happen in real life. I mean, it's just like when it comes to injuries as well. That's also something you can attach to it as well. Like what happened to the boy or girl that, is the host body. We do know that the injury that they sustained through head trauma, it is still something that could just happen out of nowhere in everyday life. Like, here's an example. You're walking, let's say, in your house, and you accidentally slip and fall. You might, bust your head on the corner of a table or on the side of your counter and fall, pass out, faint, and you can be having blood loss. Something like that could happen out of nowhere, and it could be a perfect day, but just one little slip up and something like that happens. That's pretty much what I think this episode is trying to say, is that it wasn't something that was, it wasn't something that could be avoided. It was something that just came out of nowhere, and the body now has to deal with it because it just never expected or saw it coming at all. But okay, getting into the main point of the episode, though, the second half is very dark in a lot of ways. I truly believe that everything is going to work itself out, and the reason why is not just because that we do need a dramatic, final episode or 2 episodes of the series to give that final impact for the season finale and everything works out, but also because when we look at the previous episodes and what has happened in Cells at Work, we do know that the host body is at the very least around medical care. I mean, we've had, where a medicine has come in, we've had a syringe come in, giving an IV drip and all that in the last episode with dehydration, so we do know that there is medical centers nearby the host body, properly, giving treatment to this individual. So, if this person really just did get in an accident, let's say a car wreck, or fell down in public, in public area, obviously people are going to notice that, and the person is going to be able to get the proper treatment they need. And so many might say it might feel like kind of like it's pulled out of nowhere just for plot reasons. In some cases it is for writing, but at the same time, it's something that would happen in everyday life. I mean, if so-and-so you sitting there bleeding on the side of the road or whatever, obviously they're going to call, 911 and the hospital to come pick you up or something. It's just common sense. So I do feel like that the character, the host body, is probably going to be okay, but it's still something that could leave everlasting damages. I mean, it's severe blood loss. We don't really know exactly how bad it is. We do know when it comes to cells at work, things can be over dramatic, but we also do know that when it comes to cells at work, we gotta remember that the wounds that open up near them, like in a blood vessel or something, they're really large to them because, remember, they're microscopic. They're very small, and they're nowhere near the size of, let's say, us. And so, like, a little, like, wound on your hand is like a freaking crater, like a meteor crater to them. So you gotta understand that we can't really judge the actual devastation or damage to the human body or the head. We do know that we did see signs that the human body was getting a lot colder, like losing body temperature, which does mean that there has been a lot of blood loss. So for something like that to happen, yes, it is definitely a critical wound. And we do know that for, I'm assuming the politicians we saw in this episode, I'm assuming that was brain cells. For them to be able to come to the, process of figuring out that they need to, try to save the body or whatever, I'm assuming that the brain isn't hurt that bad. The brain is still able to think and work, so the brain isn't completely like, whoop, down and done. It's damaged, or maybe just the outer exterior of the body, like towards the bone of the skull, is probably injured, and that is why blood is gushing out. Because head trauma is a serious thing. There's a lot of blood in your head, and when you take a nick in the head, blood will just come out like, crazy. So that's pretty much what I think is going on. Now, what exactly happened to the host, I don't really know. We really can't judge. We don't even know if the host body is a child or an adult. That's something that we really don't know, because, I mean, it really just depends on that. If it's a child, then most likely it was a child getting overactive, wanting to play and have fun. It could have potentially fell down off of, let's say, like a chair or something, or hit a door or whatever, and then knocked themselves out. Something like that can happen. I mean, children are very active. I know I was active when I was a child, constantly running around trying to do things, so that is what could be the case if it is a child. Now, if it's an adult, there's many things you could throw in here. We could say either the adult, got into a car wreck, head trauma, got whiplash, smashed right into a steering wheel or something, or, was walking down the street and got hit by something, hit by a bike, whatever, and hit the ground, hit the concrete, or, he got in a fight. We really don't know. We really don't know exactly what caused the situation. We just do know that if medical attention is not addressed very soon, then the body is going to be done. But okay, basically the big point here is that the episode, it definitely painted a very grim picture. A picture saying that if something is not done, the body will come to an end. And when you see White Blood Cell walk out near where the wound site was, and you just hear the heartbeat just pulsing, and you just see the remnants of, like, the buildings and all that, or where the cells live, and when you see, like, pieces of red blood cells all over the place, like their hat and all that, they're all dead. Because, as you remember, severe blood loss, that means you're losing blood, and red blood cells technically are in the blood, and so if there's a lot of blood lost, then that means a lot of blood cells just died. So, yeah, that was a very dark moment for this series, because typically this series likes to kind of skate around, these dark themes. I mean, it has some dark things that happen, like with the viruses and bacteria, but it tries to kind of, get around the fact that a lot of red blood cells or white blood cells or whatever are dying to protect the body. It usually doesn't really show that, but this is the first real time we've seen the depiction of seeing so much loss of life, and it's just scary. It makes you wonder, is one of our characters going to die? I mean, even if the body survives, it does make you wonder, will one of our characters die? Like, will White Blood Cell die? Will Red Blood Cell die? Will her Kohai die? Who really knows? Honestly, if I had to play or place a bet or anything, I'm going to assume that the Kohai is going to die. There was a lot of death flags. It seems like she was definitely someone that could potentially die or something because of how she is, and who really knows? It would definitely be a big wake-up call for Red Blood Cell Chan if she saw her Kohai just die like that. It would be very interesting if that's how the series wants to go, or take Red Blood Cell's character. But yeah, that's pretty much about it when it comes to this week's episode of, Cells at Work. Great episode. Had its moments. It definitely was a shocking episode, to say the least. I did not expect to have, like, that serious of an episode, especially after all the happiness that I got through the first half of the episode. It just blew me away. It was very unsettling. The narrator definitely nailed the way that was done. And David Productions did a good job, I think, on the emotional weight of that scene. Because, like, you're just having this great time, and then all of a sudden you hear the narrator come in and is like, until this happened. And then we just see how the entire human body just has like a nuclear explosion basically going off in it. It's pretty sad, but I think the way it was animated and David Productions, you did a fantastic job. Good work on that. But yeah, I love you guys. You have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like. And if you want to get notified for whenever I upload a video, please click the bell icon down below. And once again, I apologize if I'm a little bit off or, I'm not, my best or on my A game today. I'm a little bit sick. Forgive me on that. I do apologize. Hopefully by maybe sometime tomorrow or Wednesday, I might feel a lot better and be able to be back on my horse and be able to, perform better in these reviews. But forgive me for that if I look a little bit sick, pale, or whatever. That's how life is. It is flu season, so that's pretty much what happens. But I'm okay. Just, flu, just typical flu stuff. So obviously, just got to deal with it, man up, and hopefully it just goes away very soon. But I love you guys. Be safe. Chibi out.